when you make something, like odds are you're, even if it's subconscious, you're pulling from something else.
Yeah.
You're not the first one to come up with that.
Right.
And so it's kind of silly to, I mean, I see how you could derive pride from something like that.
Sure.
And also, I mean, there's a lot of social pressures that kind of point to, taking pride from something like that being a there's a lot of external motivations that make that more likely than not, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, I think the better approach is to be, I was influenced,
right.
Cool if other people are influenced by what I do struggle though with like putting anything out, just because I'm like, I don't want to be, I don't want to seem like I'm pandering in any, like in my, the math in my head, it's better just to not do it at all.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Sometimes I'll share something.
And when you're saying share in this instance, you mostly mean sharing something you're experiencing
like publicly
as Alex on social media.
On social media, or just publicly with
Yeah.
like strangers, I guess.
Right.
People that I don't, like with you, it's like,
yeah,
we're close friends. I'm like,
That's
oh
right.
yeah, this is what I'm like.
Check
really,
this out.
yeah,
Read this.
This
Yeah.
is cool.
Show me your stack of books,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I tend to be more reserved in sharing it just with people I don't know.
Right.
I don't know why. I just,
yeah.
I like if somebody was like, hey, what are you into and why, I would be happy to sit down and have that conversation. But
right.
I don't know. I don't think it's, but I agree. Like I completely agree with what your take on it of, I share these things because hopefully somebody else can discover.
Now, I will say, though, to be completely honest, it is, like we talked about in the previous episode, it is a spectrum. It is a gradient. There, without question, if I had those books on my desk and had a moment of desire, inspiration, compulsion, whatever you want to call it, they're all different, and they all have, a different foundation of motivation. But if I took a photo of that and put it on Instagram stories, the overarching motivation would be maybe, again, not consciously thinking of this, but I'm into this, I'm going to share it with other people. Maybe they read this book or whatever, because of it. There, without question, is some desire from a place of insecurity or wanting to signal something to people. Look at me because I'm reading these cool, lofty books.
Yeah.
And that's something that I grapple with. And that's something that I want to include in my work. So when I write a screenplay or I write a poem or I write a short story or I make a YouTube video, what is that about? That's the question.
Yeah.
What is this? And that's part of this podcast as well, which ends up making it feel at times like a mat therapy session. The whole point of it is, or part of the point of it is, I'm going to talk about how I grapple with that aspect of my personality in this forum, because maybe you do too. And maybe you have experiences or insights that you can share, or my experience helps you. And again, Alex, I'm going to talk about this stuff because I want to help people. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to grapple with this for sometimes selfish reasons.
Hoping that it...
But it's fueled from a place of curiosity.
Yeah.
Why do I feel this way? Why do I think these things?
It's super interesting too, because I don't like... Again, I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation.
Right.
But I don't want the expectation of like, this is what I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be free to roam.
Yeah.
And I think if, you put those out there into the world, like, this is what I'm reading, then it's like, oh, so you're exploring this and this and this and this is, it's like, no, like, I just want to be free.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any constraints on what I can what I can, I don't want any expectation or like any
Right.
kind of like, oh, these are the kind of books that you're enjoying, or these are the kind of films that, like, I just want to be free.
Well, in putting it out there, sharing what you're doing, I don't know if it's the best way to say it, but you sort of create work for yourself, or you sort of box yourself in,
Mhm.
or you
all of those things.
Yeah.
Constrain, box yourself in. Yeah.
Because
create
if
work
2
for
months
yourself,
from now, well, what'd you think of that Voltaire book? I didn't actually read it.
You just doxed my. Thanks a lot, buddy. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't
Why
want.
didn't you read it? Well, we want to know what you think.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll read it. Now I have to.
Yeah.
And now it's a whole different
And then
experience.
it's work. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not exploration.
I gotta meet these expectations.
And I'm doing it for somebody else. I'm not doing it for me.
Right.
Which takes. What's the point?
Yeah.
At that point.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer.